feeling like I'm frozen. I just tryna keep it rolling. Got me feeling like I'm frozen.
What's happening, people? Welcome back to the Cornermen Podcast. This is episode 3. My name is Scott, and today we're going to be talking about 2 fight cards, all middleweights on these cards. We're going to be talking about the July 25th fight card between number 1 ranked middleweight Robert Whittaker taking on number 6 ranked middleweight at the time, Darren Till. Also going to be talking about the August 1st fight card between number 8 ranked middleweight at the time, Derek Brunson taking on number 9th ranked middleweight at the time, the upcoming star, Shahbazyan. So joining me today, lucky to have Mo back. Mo, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you. Yeah, back to talk some more MMA. And then happy to have Hassan again. Hassan, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
All right, good to go. All right, guys, so let's just hop straight into it. So first, I'm just going to go over like some of the main kind of talent on the card that was, pretty cool to watch. So I got to see some good fighters. So early on, Nathaniel Wood, he looked really good, landed a ton of shots. He looked really impressive. So, like, there's not really much to say about him. He outlanded John Castaneda. His previous fight was against John Dodson. So bouncing back, he looked really good. So we move up a little bit into the card. Tanner Boza, again, I think this is his second, KO/TKO in about 2 months. He was at the Apex about 2 months ago. He knocked a guy out, and he was back on Yas Island knocking another guy out as well. So keep an eye on Tanner Boza. His movement looks great. He lands big shots. Like every single strike he landed, it was a significant strike, which was great to watch. Tom Aspinall as well. He looked incredible. Made his UFC debut. It was pretty short, landed every single strike, and he knocked out Jake Collier very quickly. He moves incredibly as well. If you guys saw him, he moves like a welterweight, honestly. His feet are so good. And the guy's, he's like 6'5", 240, so he looked really impressive. And then we're just going to hop in, and we're just going to talk straight about Robert Whittaker versus Darren Till. So looking at the stats, it was a pretty even fight, but in terms of the performance, I would say that Robert had the better fight in terms of just performance of the night. Mo, what do you think?
Yeah, I feel like Whittaker was definitely putting out a lot more strikes. He was putting out a lot more volume, and he just wasn't as hesitant as Till.
Yeah, I think Till was a little bit gun shy in terms of landing strikes and stuff. Now, Hassan, at the time, you saw the fight as well. How did you score the fight?
So the first round, I scored it for Darren Till. He was slick with his movements. He controlled the fight. He was landing the bigger shot. He dropped him on the clinch, if you remember, round 1. So I really thought he was going to continue with that moment, but the second round, he landed, controlled it, he landed the better shots, and then it continued that. It was obvious winner. Whittaker won. He wanted it more.
Yeah, I think it was just, I don't know. I felt, to me, it felt like Robert Whittaker looked really loose in there, and he said it as well. There's no pressure of a belt. There's no pressure about having to defend a belt. This was the first time in about 2 or 3 years that Robert Whittaker hasn't had to defend or fight for a belt. This was his first time, and he looked good. He looked really loose. He let his hands go. Like Mo said before we started the podcast, it was, kind of chaotic how he did it. Mo, you want to explain what you said earlier?
Yeah, so with Whittaker, during his fight, I thought he was really sporadic. I thought he was all over the place. He was trying out a lot of different stuff. He was swinging big, but it got him the fight.
Yeah, I think just being the aggressor as well. Till he landed some big shots. He landed some big elbows. Those elbows came in really handy. And Till being a Muay Thai guy, Hassan knows because he cut him up with one in the 5th round. Yeah. That was dirty. He had Robert really hurt, blood everywhere. But in terms of like output, Robert was just far superior, attempting more takedowns, landed more strikes. Yeah, knocked Till down, even though Till did knock Rob down as well. But it was a good fight. If you're a casual and someone who doesn't watch MMA a lot, you'd probably think that it was actually a really boring fight. But in terms of
I really wanted. Sorry,
no, go
I
ahead.
really wanted Darren to throw combinations. Like he was just looking for that left hand shot. I know it's very strong and all that, but I really wanted him to work like the body, to work on the clinch and everything. But it's like he was just waiting for that left hand shot. And if you look pretty closely, the first round, Robert Whittaker looked very sloppy, like he did back in Australia when he fought Israel Adesanya.
Yeah.
He was just all over the place. He would just throw a punch and then his chin would be right in front of Darren Till's face. He was just all over the place. It's good that he made that adjustment the later rounds. But if Darren Till, I think Darren Till he was probably scared to get hit. That's what I'm thinking. But I don't know.
He was scared to kind of get like just engage, you know. Both of them, it was a chess match. It was, I'm gonna take reads off of you and your movement and your strikes. I'm gonna give it to you right back. That was how it was. And if you're someone who doesn't watch the sport a lot, you'd probably think that it was a really boring fight. But I think all of us can agree it was actually a really great fight to watch. Technically and mentally, it was very grueling, but it was a great fight to watch.
Yeah, I remember Whittaker's fight with Adesanya, and in that fight, he looked really bad. Like he looked nervous. He looked like a wreck, honestly. This fight looks a lot better.
Yeah, I agree. I think just again, he's just relaxed, you know. He's not worried about having to defend a belt. He's going up against another guy. He took some time off. He took some time to clear his head and be with his family, because it was always just go, go, go. I have to defend the belt, defend the belt, defend the belt. But now he's got time to kind of relax, chill out, and then kind of regroup, which is good. And for Till, I don't think he's dented his stock too much. I know people are saying that, you know, Till, he's not going to be a champion if he's not landing more shots. I think Till has the potential to be a champion. I do believe that. I think, Mo, you're kind of shaking your head. Why?
Yeah, off of this fight, I don't really know, to be honest.
You don't think so?
No, I don't.
You don't know either, Hassan?
I think it was kind of a lose-win situation for him. He lost, but did he really like even Israel Adesanya and striker and all that? It's just like his post interview. He was like very cool. He lost, but I don't think he'll engage back with the top guys in middleweight. I don't think he'll probably be a champion one day too. He's a great fighter.
Yeah, and we need to remember as well, he's only 27, and like he's probably just been fighting top guys for the past like 2 years. He has, you know, when he was at welterweight, I remember like kind of the first like big name that he got was Cowboy. And then he went into Wonder Boy, and then he got pushed for a title shot. Lost the title shot, tried to bounce back against Masvidal, lost against Masvidal. And then he's bringing it back. He's fought guys in the top 10 for the past 2 years, pretty much. He has. And he's still 27 years old. So he's got time to develop. He's got time to learn new skills. He did look gun shy in this fight, though. So maybe he needs, I don't know. I was kind of thinking during the fight as well. Is there any other camp that he could go to? You know, maybe he comes to the US and he trains, I don't know, American top team, or he goes like back to Brazil. He was training in Brazil a lot in his early MMA days, and maybe just training there. I don't know. Like, do you think there needs to be Mo, do you think there needs to be a change for Darren Till's camp?
I mean, I'm looking at his record, and it's loss, win, loss, loss, win, win. So it's not that bad. I don't know. I think he could change his aggression, could change his style a little bit. I want to see some more grappling from him. Like, I know he's primarily a striker, but when Whittaker was on top of him, he was not looking good on the ground there.
Yeah, I think because here's the thing, Till's a big guy as well. Like he's got a big presence and he's built. So if he can improve wrestling and grappling along with his jiu-jitsu, I know he's worked in his jiu-jitsu and you know, he submitted people in the past. But if he can work on his ground game a lot, because his striking's there. His striking is there. He's a little bit gun shy, but you can fix that. You cannot fix your ground game pretty much. And he needs, I think if he worked on it more, that could be really good. I know he doesn't want to fight Yoel Romero, but maybe going to Coconut Creek, Florida and training out of American Top Team with him, it would be beneficial. You know, an Olympic level wrestler helping him out, that could be decent. But I don't really see what team Cornermen in Liverpool is doing, Cowabon, is doing for Till. I don't really see. I think it's a good, you know, they've got guys in the UFC and it's a good team, but I don't really see what it's doing for Till and kind of taking him to the next level. Hassan, what do you think? Do you think that team Cowabon is taking Till to the next level?
I mean, it all depends to what him taking to the next step. I know his grappling and all that is not good. Yeah, maybe, to be honest. If he works with an American Top Team, it will be beneficial for him. But I don't think he would do that. He would probably stick in the UK there and just working on his game.
Yeah. So in terms of next steps as well, so we already know that Robert Whittaker is going to fight Jared Cannonier as well. He's trying to take out every single top-ranked middleweight, pretty much Robert Whittaker. So credit to him. But for Darren Till, he looks pretty good. He doesn't look too busted up. I think he wants to get in the octagon again probably one more time this year, maybe by the end of the year. So who would you guys want to see him against? So, Mo, I'm going to start with you. Who would you want to see him against?
I want to see him go against Brunson.
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, because Brunson's out of a win and he looked really good. So I think that'd be a good challenge for him.
I don't know.
And he's primarily a striker too.
I could see it. Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about Derek Brunson in a bit. But Hassan, you were going to say Brunson as well? Hassan? I'm pretty sure Hassan said Brunson as well. Yeah. You said Brunson as well, right?
I guess. I mean, he's a stepping stone for that middleweight division, to be honest.
Is he though? Like,
we're
gonna talk about it later. We're gonna talk about it later to put some respect on his name. But like, I know Darren Till, he tagged Jack Hermanson in one of his posts on Instagram, so maybe Jack Hermanson against Darren Till might be next. Personally, for me, I don't want to see that fight. I think it's a really bad matchup for Darren. It's not a great matchup for Jack as well. Styles make fights, and their styles are completely different. Yeah. Jack is not going to be able to strike with Darren, and Darren is not going to be able to wrestle or grapple with Jack. So I don't really see it, but you never know. Like Masvidal and Askren, they were completely opposite, and we got the fastest knockout in UFC history, that fight. So maybe you throw them together and see what happens, but I don't know. Maybe next step. So credit to everyone on that card as well. Every single fighter was, you know, we always have to show respect to every single fighter on that card, and it was a good card. Robert Whittaker, best of luck with Jared Cannonier, and then Till, good luck with your next steps. I'm sure you can bounce back soon.
Imagine.
Go ahead, Hassan.
Imagine if the Ben Askren and Masvidal fight lasted for 5 rounds. That would have been one of the most boring fights in history.
You think?
Oh my God. Just imagine, bro.
I feel like, yeah, Askren would just wrestle Masvidal the whole time. Masvidal would just strike, but
But
it'd just be kind of a bang average 15 minutes. Like what we got on the night was simply incredible. So
that was amazing.
yeah, absolutely. So I do want to bring up one thing from the Whittaker Till card, and it was refereeing decisions. So we're going to talk about this fight. We're not going to talk about the fight itself. We're going to talk about what happened at the end of the fight. So at the end of the fight, Francisco Trinaldo, he hit Jai Herbert with a shot on the top of his temple, pretty much right on the top of his head.
Yeah.
Jai Herbert fell backwards and he looked completely sprawled out. He didn't look good, but he was trying to stay in the fight. Francisco Trinaldo knew Herbert was done. Herb Dean did not stop it, and they continued to fight. Trinaldo landed about 2 to 4 more shots. Dan Hardy, the commentator he works for the UFC, the commentator, he yelled out, "Stop the fight, ref," and then Herb Dean stopped the fight. So in terms of, Herb Dean, we all agree, and for people who don't know, Herb Dean is one of the most competent and accomplished MMA referees. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
In terms of how it was handled on the night, it wasn't his best stoppage. He messed up. He made a mistake. I think everyone knows that. But Dan Hardy, what he did, I don't think it's right. I don't think he should be able to call out like that and yell at one of the referees. Mohammed, what do you think?
Honestly, yeah, I don't really think it is his place to yell that out. I think it is a little bit unprofessional, and he should have let the ref do his job, and he shouldn't have interfered in that.
Yeah, it was just, this is the thing. I like Dan Hardy as a commentator, and I think his analysis is great. But you need to let the referee do his job. You cannot. And then, like, Dan Hardy was, they were going back and forth on Instagram. Herb Dean was defending his actions on Instagram. Dan Hardy was chatting a bunch of nonsense and calling Herb Dean out. And Dan Hardy was kind of like bullying a 15-year-old on his Instagram. It was ridiculous. So he handled it very unprofessionally. Going forward, Dana White has said that if anyone, commentator, fighter, coach, whatever, lay their hand on a referee, yell at a referee, call out a referee like that again, they're done in the promotion. They're done working for him. So Dana White will fire them that night if another incident like that happens again. That's what he's come out and said. Hassan, whose side are you taking on this controversy? Would you take Herb Dean's side or would you take Dan Hardy's side? Because Dan Hardy, I can see where he's coming from. He wants to protect fighters and stuff, but he's not in there. He's not refereeing, even though he did say that he'd love to go in there and referee. What do you say, Hassan?
What he did was wrong, but still, like, he knows what to be like in the octagon, getting your ass whipped like that, and then the referee not stopping. Like, he knows, he felt that before. So it's like, to yell at him saying stop the fight, I mean, it's understandable, but I mean, I really don't know about whose side I should take. Probably, yeah, Herb Dean, because that's his job and he should make the final decision whether it should be a stoppage or not. But yeah.
And Herb makes very few mistakes. He does. He is one of the best in the business. Like he is. Like, if you think of MMA referees, Herb Dean's probably one of your top 3. Like, it is that way. Dan Hardy, I don't think he handled it great, but I can see where he's coming from in terms of that guy was out. Herb, I don't think just didn't realize it. It's like, you're in there, you're fighting. The fighters, they sign up to be absolutely knocked out. You don't want an early stoppage, but it is the job of the referee to protect the fighter. I don't believe Herb saw that Herbert was out, even though a lot of other people did. But again, we're not inside the cage. We can't tell. Maybe he saw something we didn't. But I don't think Dan Hardy has a right to go after him like that. I think that was incredibly unprofessional. And I think Dana White has set a good boundary in terms of not having to do that again. You know, if anyone does that again, regardless of who they are, they're done in the promotion. I think he made that very crystal clear. And I think it's a good way forward to go. But yeah, being an MMA referee, I'm sure we can all agree, one of the toughest, hardest jobs, like official jobs in sport, officiating an MMA match. That's probably one of the toughest. Yeah. What do you like? Yeah, I just say I'm taking Herb Dean's side on this one. I think I would. I think he makes very few mistakes, and yeah, I'm not gonna go too much into detail about that. But yeah, we're gonna get on to our next fight night. We're gonna talk again. We're gonna talk middleweights. I just want to point out a few fighters that were pretty decent. Jonathan Martinez, he's young, up and coming. He looked great in his bantamweight fight against Frankie Sainz. Jonathan Martinez, he did miss weight. First time he's missed weight. But he looked great. He always does a really good job. And I think he could crack into the top 15 in the next year or so. I believe that. He's really good. Very good everywhere. And we're just going to hop straight to the top of this card. We're actually going to quick little shout out to Vicente Luque. Randy Brown said he's very one-dimensional, but Luque showed his striking was incredible and he looked great. So props to Vicente Luque. He's a really tough dude. Like, if you saw the fight, he's a really tough dude. We're going to talk Derek Brunson versus Edmund Shahbazyan. So initial thoughts, Mo, what do you think of the fight?
I think it was a good fight. I feel like Brunson really gave a good fight. Shahbazyan kind of looked pressured and overwhelmed. He just he felt a lot smaller than Brunson, like kind of like mass wise. Like he just looked smaller and like less muscular, and he felt like he had like less of a presence in the ring.
Yeah, Hassan, what do you think?
It was a good fight. Brunson, I think he did. I mean, he get the job done. He's a big middleweight.
Definitely.
Yeah, he's huge. He's a big guy, even though he's like what 6'1". He's built. Yeah.
His style is just pushing, pressuring them off the cage. Shahbazyan would like I told you earlier, Brunson is like a stepping stone in that middleweight division. But he got the job done. Now I guess he deserves maybe a Darren Till or somebody higher, right? Nice.
Yeah, we'll get into predictions in a bit, or like future bouts. But what I thought was Edmund Shahbazyan, let's be real, he's 22 years old. He's a senior in college at this rate. He's very young for this sport. He's up and coming. He's new to the promotion. I think he was overwhelmed by the situation. I think in terms of the fight against Derek Brunson, I don't think it was too big of a jump for him because he looked okay in rounds 1. I think his cardio got caught out at the end of round 2 and in round 3. Personally, I don't think he should have gone out for round 3. I think his coach should have stopped him. I think he got a concussion at the end of round 2. When Brunson, he took him down, he was ground pounding. Yeah, ground and pound. It was vicious. Brunson hit him with a shot. Shahbazyan's head snapped right back against the canvas. And he didn't look good when he got up. He looked pretty bad. If I'm his coach, I'm taking him out. It's like, look, he absolutely has a concussion from that. Does this then... So, first of all, great performance by Derek Brunson. Everyone... I think people forget how good of a middleweight Derek Brunson is. When they look at, you know, a lot of people, when they look at Derek Brunson, they just remember that he got KO'd by Israel Adesanya in round 1. But if you look at his record, he did really well against Robert Whittaker, even though he lost. You know, he did well against Yoel Romero. Like, he's got a good resume. He's got a good MMA resume, and he's 36, you know. He's kind of getting to the end of his prime, but he's a good middleweight. A lot of people call him the gatekeeper. I think we need to put a little bit of respect on Derek Brunson's name in terms of he's a good middleweight. You know, he's got a great resume, and he's tough. He's a tough dude. You know, I don't think he's dented Edmund Shahbazyan's stock too much, though. Mohammed, what do you think? If you're like Edmund Shahbazyan, he's young, he's 22 years old, he's beaten, I think, one ranked middleweight opponent. You know, he took on number 8 ranked Derek Brunson. He did okay. I don't think he was too terrible in rounds 1. He won the first round for me. He then didn't win the second round, then he lost the fight. Do you think this has dented his stock too much? Because he was undefeated coming into the bout.
I mean, he's on a 4. He was on a 4-round win or 4-match win streak, and one loss isn't gonna like mess him up that much. I mean, it was a tough match, and I do think that Brunson really got the best of him, especially like yeah, I get to the same weight, but it's just like when I look at their two pictures side by side, like Brunson looks like he's a weight class above him. Like, honestly, like they do not look like they're in the same weight class.
He's built. He's really built.
He is.
And
I know he's built.
And
I
I
feel like
know
Shahbazyan's got to put on some mass. Like he needs to like bulk up, get some weight on him to like sustain like all this damage he's taking.
Yeah, for
even
me,
his
I
legs,
think,
if his legs are small, like he has like no calves, no thighs. I think he should build his body up a bit more. That's what I think.
I also think it's just he's young. You know, he hasn't had to. He hasn't been in this. He hasn't been in the UFC long enough to kind of to get that experience. That's what I'm trying to say. He hasn't had as many fights as other fighters. Like Derek Brunson, he's had numerous fights in the UFC. So he's going to be used to getting hit. He's going to be used to kind of every style. He's going to have a little bit of knowledge about everything.
Yeah, it's a 14-year age difference.
Exactly, yeah. And Shahbazyan, he's 22. He's not even in his prime yet. He's still incredibly young. Like, he's got time to grow. I don't think this has dented his stock too much, honestly.
Yeah, I got a lot of respect for him, honestly, doing all this at 22.
Yeah. I mean, he's one of the top 15 middleweights in the UFC and in the world.
At this age, yeah.
At 22.
It's crazy.
That's crazy.
Like, that's respectful.
Yeah. In terms of next steps for Edmund Shahbazyan, where does he go from here, Hassan? Like, does he take on someone below him in the top 15 to kind of keep his name in the hat? You know, his undefeated record is gone now. He can forget undefeated record. Yeah.
I mean, it has to be like that. He has to take someone below him because you can't. He doesn't have a name to throw him up in the top 10 after losing a fight like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was his first fight, fighting a guy in the top 10. So he loses. Put him up there again. It's not like it's not long. He needs to at least 2-3 fights, fighters below him, and then you'll consider seeing what top 15 match.
Yeah.
He should learn from.
He should learn from the fight. That's what you're trying to say, right?
Yeah.
Get more experience.
Yeah, I think he needs to kind of pad out his record a bit because he took on Brad Tavares and he beat him pretty convincingly. Good knockout win. Derek Brunson, you know, I think he knows what the future holds in terms of the middleweight division. Like he's kind of seen that, Derek Brunson, he ain't a pushover. A lot of people call him a gatekeeper. He's a guy that he's serious. So if we're looking at, Edmund Shahbazyan right now, he's dropped a ranking, so he's 10th. But do you see anyone below him that you could see him taking on in terms of like bouncing back? In my opinion, I think Ian Heinisch is probably the one to go for, just because Ian Heinisch, he's heavy hands, he's a striker, he's a brawler, kind of the same for Edmund. If he wanted someone that would be a good fight and potentially someone he could beat, I could see that fight happening. I don't know. It's difficult because I think, Ian Heinisch won his last fight. So I'm pretty sure that would work. If he wanted someone above him, he could definitely get Edmund Shahbazyan. But I don't know. It's difficult. He just needs experience. He needs fights, but he's already in the top 10, top 15 in the world. So it's like, who do you pit him against so he won't lose any recognition in a way? It's difficult. I'm not really
it's hard
sure.
to say about.
Yeah, it's like he needs that experience. He needs more fights. In terms of Derek Brunson, he looked very good. He's a wrestler, but his striking looked very decent. He's got heavy hands. He says he wants to make a run for the title. Could be interesting, but if you were to put him up against someone next, who would you want to see Derek Brunson fight next, Hassan?
Dang. I mean, it has to be top 10 fighters, but who?
I mean, if he's going for the belt, he's got to go for someone above him.
He's got to go. Yeah. And he's not getting any younger. He's no spring chicken.
I know. Calvin Gastelum.
Maybe.
I know he's in a losing streak, but he's still a very dangerous, probably the best striker in that division. Maybe.
What? No. I know. We're gonna stop. No, we're gonna stop that right there. We'll get All right. Do not say Kelvin. Let's not say Kelvin. That's
not.
That's terrible. No.
That left hand is fucking crazy, bro.
He's got good striking, but he's not the best striker in the division.
If he was the best striker in the division, he would not be 8th ranked right now.
Yeah.
No, who's
He'd be
the
at least
best
top
striker
3.
in the division? Talk to me.
Adesanya.
Hell no.
The best striker in the division.
why
Adesanya
did
was
he
a
champion then?
kickboxer before he came into MMA.
I guess, but I know he just sits back and counters. It's just,
So why is he the champion then?
I get it,
He's
but
good.
he's like, he's capitalizing out of his opponent's. You know why that Romero fight was so boring? Because Romero didn't attempt to go forward, and Adesanya couldn't counter.
Yeah, why would he risk the belt?
Why would he risk getting knocked out by Romero? I wouldn't risk getting knocked out by Romero. I'd stay on the outside as much as I could.
Pushing him, huh?
I'd stay on the outside as much as I could if I was locked in a cage with Yoel Romero. Stay out of his way,
It's crazy.
and leg kick.
I'm saying he's doing that to everybody. He's doing that to everybody. Every fighter he fought, he stayed in the outside, and then he wavered him to push forward, and then he counters. But Gastelum is throwing bumps, and he's coming in front. He's in front of you. He's pushing you, and it depends, I guess. What kind of style of fighting you like? I like Israel Adesanya. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't mean that I don't like him. I'm just saying I like Calvin's style better.
Yeah, I think.
So
go ahead.
You know where I'm coming from, though?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, kind of, yeah. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. In terms of styles, I think Kelvin Gastelum and Derek Brunson could be a good matchup. But Derek Brunson, if he wants to make a run of the title and he's not getting any younger, he needs to go for someone a bit bigger. So maybe you give him maybe Darren Till coming off a
Yeah,
loss.
that's what we said for the last prediction.
Yeah, that's what you guys were saying. Maybe Darren Till.
think,
I don't think it'd be a
I
good
think
matchup for Till. What do you think,
Darren
sir?
Till will play Jorgensen probably.
You think?
'Cause I think so. I mean, it's not a good matchup, but I think so. Because wait, wasn't Derek Brunson on a losing streak before this fight?
I don't think so. Unless, what was his last fight? No, I think Brunson, the last time he
He's
fought
won
was
his
when he
last two fights.
For
Yeah.
real?
And then he lost to Adesanya, lost to Souza, then beat Machida,
you're looking at his,
beat Kelly, lost to Silva, lost to Whittaker. It was mixed. It's not really a
Yeah.
losing
I
streak.
mean, he's fighting top guys, but the thing is, it's like, yeah, I really don't mind seeing him against Theo.
I wouldn't mind it.
But
I
it will,
think,
it will
I
be,
mean,
Yeah, Till would be good.
but it will be the same outcome as Adesanya, because Adesanya and Till, they're just looking for that one shot. You know how Darren Till be waiting for that left shot, and he's slick. So I think it will be the same result.
Brunson's gonna make him engage. Brunson's gonna
I
walk
guess.
forward and make him engage.
That's why, but his technique is all wrong. He's like this chin forward, just looking for. I don't like his style.
Yeah.
It looks like he's gonna get KO'd. Like the first minute of when you hear the bell, it's just like that coming forward
True. Yeah.
with his chin open. That's why
Well, it's one of his last two fights.
it was so easy for him to clip him at the knee and then just get rid of him.
You know what? I wouldn't be against, because I know Yoel Romero takes on Uriah Hall in about 2 weeks' time. I wouldn't be against Derek Brunson taking on one of those two.
But he fought Romero already, and people say that was a really close fight.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing that.
I wouldn't mind seeing it
Romero
again.
wins.
I wouldn't mind seeing Derek Brunson against Jack Manson as well. That would be
That would be a good fight.
stylistically, I think that makes sense. Rather than Till. Even though I think Till I do think Till Brunson would be a good fight. I think Hermanson versus Brunson would be a better fight, though.
That's true.
Yeah, I think in terms of like the wrestling and stuff, it would be a good wrestling matchup. And now, like Chris Weidman won on this past weekend on the 8th or whatever. So he's getting back into the picture. But yeah, in terms of Brunson, I think he needs to go for the top of the pile. He needs to go for someone in that top 5. Could see him against Gastelum. I think stylistically that's a good matchup. Hermanson is stylistically a great matchup. Till maybe not best stylistically, but I think it'd be a fun fight as well. I do. But if Till is very similar to Adesanya, I could see it finishing the same way as it did for Brunson beforehand, just getting KO'd and picked apart. I could see it going that way. But hopefully Brunson learns from that.
The Darren Till and the Whittaker card. I was really hoping for Alexander Gustafsson's fight, but I really wanted him to win and engage back in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, I feel bad for Gus. So we're talking about so Alexander Gustafsson. He came out of retirement, went into the middleweight division. Previously was a light heavyweight. Sorry, did I say middleweight? He moved into the heavyweight.
To heavyweight.
He moved to heavyweight. Sorry, he was in the light heavyweight division previously. Took on Fabricio Verdun and got submitted in the first round. Maybe he fights again. Maybe he gets out of that. I'm not really too sure, but I was a bit disappointed. Fabricio Verdun is like one of the best kind of jiu-jitsu guys in the sport.
Yeah, those are Brazilians. Wow.
They're all like just so good.
I swear to God.
So good. Also on that card, I forgot to mention earlier, Khamzat Chimaev.
Yeah.
Yeah, the upcoming. So he was on the card previous like what, a week previous.
Yeah,
What, was he on the Figueiredo card? Was it that
I
one?
don't know before that.
Was
Well, I
it
think
before?
yeah, that fight.
Anyway, he had a fight on Yas Island 10 days prior to the one he had the night of July 25th, the Whittaker versus Till card. Different weight class. Khamzat Chimaev cut about 15 pounds, like 10 to 15 pounds to get to, no, he cut like 15 pounds to get to 171. Welterweight rather than middleweight to take on Reese McGee, and he finished him in the first round.
That is
So
crazy.
in the span of 10 days, he finished 2 fights at 2 different weight classes. One on his UFC debut and then another one on his second UFC appearance. That is insane.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
People are saying he's the next Khabib.
I think that's a bit disrespectful though to Khamzat, because let the guy do him. Let's not
Right?
put pressures on his shoulders, because Khabib is probably one of the greatest fighters, if not the greatest lightweight of all time. But Khamzat, he's just come into the division. He's just come into the UFC. He's just gotten into, middleweight, welterweight divisions. He's called his shot. He wants to fight someone ranked next. He wants to fight someone like Damian Maia, Nate Diaz, Conor McGregor. He wants to fight big names. Do you think that people are getting caught up in the hype, or do you think the kid's the real deal? Mohammed, what do you think?
I think it's really impressive to have your UFC debut and then after 10 days have another fight. Like the amount of pressure and stress that goes on around those like those fight camps and the fight themselves and setting everything up. Like that's a lot of respect for even winning those 2 fights. Even just completing those 2 fights, that's insane. And I think if he can do that, then I don't know if he should go for like McGregor. I feel like that's too much of a jump. I feel like he should like take it slow and steady, not like blow himself out of the water. I feel like if he goes like if he goes too high right now, he's gonna crash.
I agree. I do. I think he needs to pad his record first. He needs to, and when I say pad his record, I mean he needs to get fights that he can win and just get his record up, because he's 7-0 or 8-0 right now, something like that. He needs fights that he can win before he takes on a ranked opponent. I think he's very high level, but if you look at his style, if you look at the last 2 fights that he's had, he's done the same thing twice. He's gone in, he's maybe landed like 2 strikes, and then he's gone for a takedown, and then he's grinded you out. It's worked in his last 2 fights, but a fighter is going to read that and is going to go, you know what, I could probably hit him with a knee. Or I can maybe, hit him with a good leg kick or something, something to knock him off balance, something to knock him out. So he needs to just be careful with his style, but he looks good, And a lot of people saying, oh, he's a hype train, he's going to get derailed, but he looks great. He looks really good in terms of his style and his athleticism and the ability to cut weight. He'd be a problem at welterweight. He'd be a problem at middleweight. I think his size helps with that. He's 6'2", so we can kind of go between both weight classes. But he needs to pad his record first before he takes on a ranked opponent. He needs to get wins under his belt, and he needs to show, once he's done that, then he can get a ranked opponent and show that he can take on top of the divisions, either at welterweight or middleweight, in my opinion. But again, credit to Khamzat Chimaev, incredible achievement for a fighter. I think the first time in UFC history that's happened. So credit to him. And then also credit to everyone on the Brunson versus Shahbazyan card. It was a great card, real fun to watch. Best of luck in the near future for Edmund Shahbazyan. Hopefully he can bounce back from his first loss. And then Derek Brunson, hopefully he can make a title charge and make things interesting in the middleweight division. However, we do have some news. We do have a future middleweight title fight that will be coming up soon. And that will be at UFC 253, which will be Saturday, September 19th, 2020. Israel Adesanya, the champion, taking on number 2 ranked middleweight Paulo Costa. What do you guys think? What do you guys think of that bout? So Mo, what do you think about it?
I think it's gonna be a really interesting fight. I want to see Adesanya put on another show. Like, I still remember his fight with Whittaker, and like that performance that he put on before the fight. I feel like that really intimidated Whittaker, and that was like the best coming out performance that I've seen in a UFC fight. I love that. So I want to see another one of those. Yeah, the walkout. Yeah.
The walkout was sick. I have to admit, like, it was really cool, and like all the stuff, and he's doing it at Marvel Stadium in Australia, and that is just, it's huge. You know, it's like, what, a 50,000 seat stadium or something like that. Pack the place out. But in terms, like, Paulo Costa, he's no dud. Let's be real. He's a quality middleweight, probably one of the scariest middleweights on the roster right now. Hassan, do you think that Paulo Costa can beat Israel Adesanya? Hassan? Yeah, he might be frozen, guys. So I'll pitch it to Mohammed. What do you think?
I mean, he's been on a five match win streak. I don't really know, to be honest.
Both undefeated as well. I say.
Really
Adesanya's like what? Like, he's something like 17-0 or whatever. And then Costa's like 13-0, something like that. And then, so I think this is the first time in UFC history as well that you have a title fight with 2 undefeated fighters. And someone's zero is going to have to go.
Yeah.
Hassan.
It's definitely going to be an interesting fight. I really want to see... I really want Adesanya to win it again. I want him to hold the belt. Just because Hassan doesn't like him.
I feel like Hassan, you want to say something about Adesanya. I feel like you don't like him at all.
He wants him to lose.
We got no, that's not true. I love Adesanya. That's wrong. I really like him. I like everything about him, but Paulo Costa what's his name?
Paulo Costa, yeah.
Paulo Costa, I don't know. I think he's too big, and his style is, he's gonna come. He's not gonna stand like Romero, and if like he got serious power, but you never know where Adesanya. That guy he can put on the show.
I feel like I don't think Adesanya has faced.
It's hard to predict that fight.
It's difficult, yeah, because stylistically, I think it's a great fight. I do. Paulo Costa is gonna walk Israel Adesanya down into a corner and slug for his life, but Adesanya, he's gonna try and read it, counter strike, and knock him out.
Yeah, Adesanya's got the reach and the height advantage.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Physically though, Paulo Costa is massive. He walks around at 230. So he walks around at heavyweight. And he has to cut crazy amount of weight to get to 185.
Yeah, 45 pounds.
No. But like, I don't think it doesn't mean anything because we've seen Adesanya fighting those giant middleweights like Romero, Derek Brunson. When I watched the Derek Brunson Adesanya fight, I was like, how are they even the same weight class? Because the weight difference is just crazy. So I don't think that really matters. Yeah, stylistically great matchup. I guess I'm hoping Adesanya can win it. because he's entertaining, I guess. We need an entertaining champion at least.
I'll be honest. I like Israel Adesanya. I do, but he does really act like a big kid outside the octagon, which is something that some might find endearing. I find it really cheesy though. I don't know why. Just like with all this anime stuff, like
Yeah.
I mean, like you're 31, you know? Like Robert Whittaker's older than you, man.
He's so
Like, sorry, Robert
cringy.
Whittaker's younger than you, and like you're out here watching anime and like, you know, sucking on lollipops at like press conferences and stuff. Like, I want to see him. I want to see him be more of like, just become classier in a way. I don't know. I think the trash talking stuff, that's funny. Like that stuff's cool. You know, like his banter back and forth with, you know, Derek, even the banter back and forth with Paulo Costa, calling him like an oversized balloon animal and like a granny or like something like that, you know, like so that stuff's funny, but
It's self fights.
exactly. But the anime stuff is so cheesy. All that
I feel
anime,
like
it's just so cheesy.
I feel like it does appeal to like some of the UFC fans. Like there's always going to be anime fans and UFC fans. So I feel like he's drawing in that crowd and he's getting more supporters because of that, because of the fact that he does like watch anime.
But a lot of people think that's cringe.
Yeah,
I've
it's
heard
so
a lot of
cringy.
people
I do
say
too. Yeah,
It's so cringy.
it.
It's like Usman as well. Usman's just cringy outside the cage with his like multiple personalities stuff, you know. But and like it's just kind of the same. Like I find, you know, the anime stuff just super cringy. I don't know why. It's not my cup of tea. But like, I do like Israel Adesanya. I like his style. I like him inside the cage. I like his trash talk. Outside the cage, he's just goofy. You know, I just find it like that. Paulo Costa as well. Like the thing that I kind of like about Paulo Costa as well is his English is terrible, but he still makes memes in English. Like on his Instagram and stuff, he's like, "I'm coming for you, skinny boy," and that sort of stuff. Like he puts it out there, and I find that so endearing because he doesn't speak English too well, but like the memes and stuff, it's just funny, you know. Having that presence outside the octagon is funny. So, like, I like them both, but if you were to pick one to win, Mo, who would you pick?
Adesanya.
Hassan, who'd you pick? I think Hassan's frozen. Mo, how does Adesanya get the job done?
I mean, there's really only two ways that he could do it. He could either play it safe and just try to wear him out and try to go for the knockout, or he could just go to distance and so he could either play it safe or he could give us an entertaining fight. I think he's going to play it safe. I think he's not going to try to mess around. He's not going to try to lose the belt. I think like first or second round, he's going to give us like a little bit of an entertaining fight, but then after that, he's going to like slow it down. He's going to try to control the fight.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he wants to go in there and slug with Paulo Costa.
Yeah,
I don't even think he wants to go in there and wrestle with Paulo Costa because
You can't do that.
I don't think he can do that. I think this is a difficult one to call. I'm actually going to say Paulo Costa knocks him out. I'm going to go, I think he finishes him like, I think Paulo Costa, first of all, Paulo Costa needs to make weight. That's going to be huge.
Yeah.
If he doesn't make weight, if he doesn't weigh 185 exactly, fights off. And Israel Adesanya keeps the belt no matter the result. I think Paulo Costa is going to cause Israel Adesanya problems because size-wise, Paulo Costa is massive. He's just jacked. He's huge. And Israel Adesanya, I don't think he's going to be able to wrestle with him. He's not going to have the same power on his strikes, even though he is a counter striker and he'll try and take reads off of Paulo Costa. Costa's just going to come forward and slug, and he's going to throw everything at his shots. And in terms of striking, Paulo Costa is very good. He's got great boxing. He's got good kickboxing as well. Ground game is solid. His jiu-jitsu is fantastic. He submitted a bunch of guys in the UFC already. His wrestling is very good. I feel like in terms of wrestling, if it comes to that, he's going to just sit on Israel Adesanya and not let him up. I could definitely see that happening. I think Paulo Costa is going to knock him out in rounds 2 or 3.
Right.
I think it could happen. I'm going to go put it out there. And I know people are going to slate me and say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm just going to give people a different perspective, man. Let's do it.
I see that. That's why I said it's hard to predict this fight.
It's hard, like I like, and I'm not saying that because I dislike Izzy outside the cage. I like Israel Adesanya. I follow him on Instagram. He's a funny dude, but I genuinely think Paulo Costa is just different. He's different from Romero. Romero didn't want to engage. Yeah. Paulo Costa wants to engage. He wants to take Israel Adesanya's head off. There's so much hate between these two. He wants to go in there and knock him clean out. He's going to go engage. That's why I think Paulo Costa is going to win. I think, like Mo, like you said, Izzy's going to play it safe. He's not going to want to engage with Paulo Costa.
He's going to play the range game pretty much, yeah.
He's going to play the range game. He's going to stay kind of on the outside and strike. That's how I see it. But
that's his style. Didn't he do that every fight he fought before? He did that every fight. He
works
he
for him.
Engage. He played it safe.
Does he play it safe every time, though?
Yes, he
will. I don't think he played it safe against Brunson.
Every time.
The Whittaker fight, he didn't play it safe.
He didn't play it safe against Whittaker.
What? He was capitalizing every time Whittaker throws a punch, he counters. That's how he knocked him out, too. The knockout was, they were exchanging. The knockout they were exchanging. I'm talking before that. Like he was waiting for him to throw a punch and countering. But the thing is, he knows what to do in that position. He knows when his opponent is out of range. He knows how to read his opponent. He knows when to throw a punch. He knows when to. That's the good thing about Israel Adesanya. He knows when to do it.
His range management is very good. I think, Hassan, you've been cutting out a little bit throughout the podcast, but I think what he's trying to say is Adesanya's range management is very good, which gives him that ability to get inside and take those shots like he did against Whittaker. He pieced him up. Brunson, like when Brunson came forward and stuff, is he striking? Is he striking him? Brunson throws a punch. But Izzy, he can take some, he can leave some, that's okay. He was counter-striking. It's becoming, common for Israel Adesanya to do that. I don't think he played it safe against Brunson. He went in and he went for the knockout. Like when he got Brunson rocked, he could have just stayed back, let him recover. He didn't. He went in for the kill, which is what I like,
But you have to do that when...
He wasn't the champion at the time, so there wasn't really anything on the line apart from his undefeated record.
I know. When you see a fighter, when you rock a fighter, you have to go for it and knock them out. And I gotta give the Gastelum fight. That was an amazing fight.
Probably one of the best fights I've ever seen. Probably one of the best fights I've ever seen.
Amazing. That 5th round, God, that he went for it. He didn't hold back nothing.
But you bring that fight up. Gastelum had him rocked. Gastelum rocked Israel Adesanya early, and he also rocked him late in the fight as well.
Yeah.
Paulo Costa, I'd say he's a better version of Kelvin Gastelum. I don't know about that. I think he can knock him out. I do. I think Israel Adesanya, he's not made of titanium. Like he's susceptible to damage.
Yes, he's no John Jones.
Yeah. It's a difficult fight to call. But Hassan, what's your prediction for the fight? How do you see it ending? Do you see it going the distance? What do you see?
I'm gonna say Adesanya 5 rounds decision, unanimous decision.
Unanimous decision. All right, Mo, what are you saying?
A split decision, Adesanya.
Split decision. Okay. I'm going to go outlandish. I'm going to say Paulo Costa knocks him out round 3. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to say
I mean, I'm
Make
not
the best man
against it or anything.
that could be really cool. I'd want to see it. That would be really cool. All
It'd
right.
definitely be an upset.
It would be, because here's the thing. It's an undefeated, both fighters are undefeated. Someone's, always going to have to go.
Take the L. Yeah.
Someone's going to take the L. It's going to be a great fight. I can't wait. It will be such a good fight. So those are our early predictions. They're probably going to change like when we see the fight or whatever, if we do a quick preview for the fights. But yeah, that's basically our podcast for the night. So Mo, thank you so much for coming out. Appreciate it.
Of course.
And then Hassan as well. And your terrible Wi-Fi, unfortunately, but it was good to have you here, bro. I'm glad. I'm actually glad, because you worked all day, and I appreciate you being here, man.
Nah, anytime, bro. I appreciate you.
Yeah. All right, guys. So this has been your boy Scott. Thank you for tuning in for episode 3 of the Cornermen Podcast. Please leave a like, do subscribe, keep your channel notifications on, and we'll be back with another episode very, very soon. Take care. Goodbye.
Looking for you right